Does your Tarkov feel like this? Choppy, sluggish, and distracting? Now imagine it feeling more like this, way smoother and way more responsive. Today I'm testing SMT versus physical cores and how that interacts with smooth motion. SMT, or hyperthreading, lets one physical CPU core handle two threads at once. That can be great for some workloads, but in games like Tarkov, it can actually hurt consistency. As you can see, all tests were done on the same map here, customs. I tried to do it in the exact same area with the same settings, and the only thing that was changed was SMT and smooth motion. First up is SMT off and smooth motion off. So it's really interesting on customs. Looking towards scav checkpoint, you get close to like 200 FPS. Even zooming in is not too bad, like 140. Frame time's pretty good. But then when you look towards Big Red, it drops significantly down to 120. Next up is SMT on with smooth motion off. And here you're going to see similar FPS. It does drop a little bit lower, especially looking towards Big Red here. But the frame times are significantly worse, like hitting 14, 15. All right, now we're going to look at SMT on and smooth motion on. So here, yeah, you're going to see about double the FPS because we do have smooth motion turned on. Feels a lot smoother. You're obviously going to have that input latency that smooth motion brings, but overall pretty good. Lastly, we have SMT off and smooth motion on. Very strong FPS here, getting like 250, 300, looking towards scav checkpoint. And honestly, not that bad looking towards Big Red either. But this is kind of the best setup I found. Obviously, you're going to have to take a look at the input latency and see if it's worth it for you. But frame timing, good. Frame rate, good. This is, if you're going to run smooth motion, this is definitely the way to do it. If you're interested in learning more about setups like this and testing different settings, make sure to subscribe. Definitely quite a bit of takeaways from those clips. I think with smooth motion on, you really can't tell that much of a difference between SMT or hyperthreading on or off. It really shows in the high of the FPS, like hitting that 290, 300. And also like the frame pacing and frame times were a little bit better with it turned off. So it just kind of goes to show that you do not want to be running SMT with Tarkov. I think the only scenario it would make sense to is if you have maybe like a 4-core CPU or a low performing 6-core CPU, you might see similar FPS or even better FPS just because, you know, this is my personal setup. So it's going to be very individual to my PC. I'll put my specs on the screen right now, but usually it's going to be for the worse to have it on. So you'll want to click use physical cores only in game. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of differences online too. One thing that a lot of people are going to mention with smooth motion as well is that it introduces a lot of input latency, which I think is going to be kind of a case by case scenario. For me, it's not that big of a jump in latency, and the improvement in clarity and frame pacing kind of makes it worth it in some scenarios. But I might do a future video looking at just smooth motion and seeing at the differences between latencies and stuff. But I think it's one of those things where you really have to test it on your own. I would recommend looking at your specific system and seeing if anyone else has posted results online, and you can kind of use that as a guide towards what settings you might want to have on and off, especially when it comes to SMT and smooth motion. Yeah, let me know down in the comments below what kind of performance you guys are getting. Maybe you guys are having the opposite where you're having more frames with SMT on and less frames with it off. It is really different for everyone. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed.